All right, everybody, the final exam is coming up very, very soon. And I just want to rehash with you a few ideas on ways that you can succeed on this exam. A couple things you can do. Start studying, if you haven't already, 5 days a week. No exceptions. It's a lot of material. Hopefully you've been doing that all semester. If you've been doing what I suggest in the syllabus, you've already had at least 70 hours of study time in Bio 1 and have a lot of the material in your long-term memory, and you should be good to go there. Form study groups. Make sure they are productive study groups. If you are in groups that have members that don't do anything, form a new study group. These study groups can be very important. You can teach each other. You can test each other. Treat everything like it's a test. What do I mean by that? Treat mastering questions. Treat the guided reading questions. Open a new blank copy of the guided reading questions, or the questions in the back of the book, or the Mastering Biology example exam questions. You can go into Mastering if you've forgotten and test yourself there using some of the features in there. Treat it like it's a test. What that means is don't look up the answers. Answer them from your memory. Do your best to answer everything from memory. Don't flip to the book to see how it's done. Don't flip open your notes to see how it's done. Test yourself every time. This is a very important, I can't stress this one enough. This is probably the most important thing you can do, is test yourself without a safety net as much as possible. So have group mates make a test. Take their test. You write questions for them. They take the test. You can look at the example final exam on Blackboard and take it, but do it without your book. Answer the whole thing as well as you can. And then, after all that, grade yourself with your book. I'm not going to give you a key for that. That would be cheating. You need to figure it out, because only then will you learn the material. Prepare not like you're going to take a test, but prepare like you're going to have to lecture to 100 people. You're going to have to teach photosynthesis to the class. How well would you prepare for that? How thoroughly would you prepare for that? How would you prepare differently if you had to teach the material? You would have to think about questions people would have. You would have to think about misunderstandings. You would have to think about ways to remember the material, maybe mnemonic devices or whatever to remember the order of stages and things like that that you might then be able to think about more thoroughly and incorporate into your own studying. So prepare like you have to teach it. And not only that, then you need to teach it. So practice teaching the material until you can teach the material. Make your own tables to reorganize information, concept maps, charts, study guides. Make your own study guides and practice tests in groups or on your own. But practice until you can teach it, meaning teach your friends, teach your dog, teach your parents, teach the cactus in your dorm room, whatever. But practice teaching until you can do it. And then you've got it. There are a lot of great study tips that you can find at howtostudy.org. You might check that out as a resource, but none of this does any good unless you do it. And lastly, one thing you need to remember about attitude. Everyone in this class can do well. Everybody. No one is incapable of getting an A in this course. No one is incapable of making a good grade. So shoot to make the best grade you can on that final exam. But remember, it's not that some people are smarter than others that make them do better on a test. That's not likely at all. It's habits. Don't let your bad habits prevent you from getting a good grade. Do things that work. And things that work take a lot of effort. It's hard to do well in biology. But if you put in a lot of effort in the right ways, you can do well. So study with proven habits. Check out howtostudy.org. Do the things I've said here and start now. And do them thoroughly, do them well, and believe in yourself and that you can do well if you strive for it. But before you take that test, prove to yourself you know it. Teach it. Take your own study tests. Take the practice tests on mastering, things like that. Prove to yourself you know it before you sit down in that exam room. And I look forward to your A on the final.